You're listening to BBC Radio 4, and now it's the first instalment of our new drama, The Hospital, where Dr. Cullen finds himself in trouble.
Hello, Dr. Mason, how can I help?
Hello, Mr. Cullen. Can you attend the emergency that just came through? With there being no accident and emergency in the area, you're the only on-call doctor able to treat people with heart complaints. Mr. Cooper and Mr. Williamson are both off today. I'll fax the details, but you'll need to leave immediately.
Yes, of course. I'll leave now. What's the patient's name?
Harry Lowe. His address will be on the fax.
Thanks. I'll call you on the way back. Hello? Is anybody in?
I'm in here, the living room.
Hello, Mr. Lowe. I'm going to need to do a check-up on you and see if there are any inherent problems. Is that all right?
Yes.
Right, Mr. Lowe, I'm going to have to refer you to hospital. I've detected a problem that may cause you further disturbances. Hello, sir. I have to refer this patient to the hospital. Can you send an ambulance here?
Right away.
Can I have some help here, please?
This patient needs to go to the consultant's room for an examination.
Dr. Cullen arrived back at the hospital to be met by the questioning face of his colleagues.
The receptionist, Georgina Hawthorne, would always smile in a coy, flirtatious way and flutter her false eyelashes at him just to greet him each time he passed.
This was again one of those times.
Good afternoon, Dr. Cullen. You look a bit pale. Is everything okay?
Yes, Georgina, I'm absolutely fine.
Dr. Cullen arrived in his office, glad to finally have the chance to sit down and rest. After visiting Harry Lowe, he did feel slightly odd. His head was really heavy, and his muscles ached as if he had just come back from a long run. His eyes felt as though there were lead weights hanging from each eyelid.
He sat at his desk and slowly drifted into a deep sleep.
A week had passed since Dr. Cullen's visit to Harry Lowe, the day after which he was informed of Mr. Lowe's unexpected death.
This was a surprise to Dr. Cullen. It was only a mild heart attack after all, and he thought back to his visit. Mr. Lowe looked the same way that Dr. Cullen now felt. He complained of aching muscles, a heavy head, aching eyes which he couldn't keep open. In a moment of realisation, Dr. Cullen noted that these were in fact exactly the same symptoms as he had experienced, but he just couldn't figure out what they were symptoms of.
Hello, Dr. Cullen. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you, Georgina. I need to get prepared to operate today.
Alright. Bye, Dr. Cullen.
Bye, Georgina. Ready for theatre?
Yes.
Can we prepare the patient for operating, please? Cheryl, can you pass me the scalpel? 2.5. Thank you. Tissue, please.
Are you alright, Dr. Cullen?
Yes, Cheryl, just a minor setback. Let's carry on, thank you.
12:06, operation finished. Did the operation go successfully, Cheryl? For us, yes. Dr. Cullen? What happened?
What's going on here, ladies? Cheryl, have you checked the patient operated on earlier?
No, not yet. Right away, sir. How are you feeling after your operation today?
I've got terrible pains in my side. I think I need to see a doctor.
I'll get Dr. Cullen for you.
Thank you.
Dr. Cullen, the patient you operated on earlier stresses he's in serious pain on his side. Is that the side where the scalpel slipped?
I need to go to see him.
He's on ward 12.
How are you feeling?
I've got pains in my side. Is there something wrong?
Prescribe you some tablets to take away the pain. Here, these should help.
Mistakes with prescriptions can be fatal. Not for the first time, Dr. Cullen was heavy-handed with his dosage. Recognition of his failure flickered over his face as the patient slipped into a deep, unnatural sleep. He wondered what had happened to cause such simple mistakes. He'd taken paracetamol every day, and yet his headache, aching muscles, and tired eyes would not go away. It was during this moment that he heard the hushed conversations between the patients in the ward. He was surrounded by patients, each of them glancing at him and then turning away as he met their eyes.
I heard he nearly killed a patient. Gave him an overdose apparently. He passed out.
He had a patient in theatre for 2 hours. Mistakes all the way.
Yes, he's been awfully distant for 3 weeks I've been here. Not a very good doctor at all. I've a right mind to complain to Mr. Mason. He's his boss. I've got my daughter to find out who he was.
Dr. Cullen walked towards the gossiping patients. He knew if his patients complained, his medical career would be ended in an instant. As he neared the beds, the patients turned toward him, upright, suspicious.
Hello. I didn't mean to be nosy. It's just that I overheard the conversation you just had and wanted to inform you that there will be major consequences for the particular doctor if you do not in fact report your unnecessary concerns to Dr. Mason.
Who we speak to and what we say privately is between myself and Dr. Mason, if that is who I choose to speak to.
I see. You will regret your decisions if you do not speak to Dr. Mason about medical performance. Take this as your warning.
Well, I'll add this conversation to my list of failings on your behalf when I talk to Mr. Mason. Don't you threaten me, Dr. Cullen.
Dr. Cullen understood that the patients would not end their complaints and took the decision that would change his and the patients' lives forever. He walked toward the nurse's station.
Excuse me, ladies. Can you please attend to the emergency downstairs? I'll look after this ward, and if I need any of you, I'll put a call out. In fact, once you're done there, why don't you take a break? Go home early. You deserve a break anyway.
Yes, of course, Dr. Cullen. I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
Sometimes people with a reputation cannot bear the shame of losing it. Dr. Cullen ushered the nurses out, locked the door of Ward 13, and took the telephone off the hook. He wasn't prepared to let a few ungrateful individuals ruin his career. Not now.
What's happening? What are you doing? Nurse! Nurse!
This is for my career. I have no choice.
That was the first instalment of the gripping drama The Hospital. Up next on BBC Radio 4, it's The Archers.